Today, we are interviewing one of the biggest agents in Southern California to figure out what are the key questions that you have to ask somebody when interviewing an agent to either sell your property or buy a property. So we got a whole new setup here. You know, we redid everything when we did the whole rebrand, the relaunch, and one of the reasons we did this was try to kind of continually stay ahead of the curve. And we added a TV so that we can be interviewing people virtually anywhere in the world. All right, guys, so here today, we're here with Bryan Casella, probably one of the biggest agents on the West Coast. Bryan, maybe give us a second to introduce yourself for us.
Bryan Casella, I am 34, about to be 35. I've been a real estate agent here in Southern California in the Los Angeles area for almost 8 years now. It's wow. Hard to believe I've been in business that long. We'll probably end up doing around, I think between 30, 35 million in volume. And as of June of 2020, we actually expanded the team outside of California. So now I am in 9 states in the continental United States, and we're expanding quickly. And I'm excited to see where Team BC is headed to by the end of 2021.
Man, 9 states. That's going to be quite a big footprint. Is the goal to get to all 50 states?
Yes, I would like to be. The goal is 25 by the end of 2021, so I have some work to do.
Yeah, you got a little bit ahead of you there.
It's a really nice day, living in the right space. Breathing your grace, got me feeling some kind of way.
When you're expanding your team, you're trying to get to 25 states by the end of the year. What are you looking for in agents that try to help grow that? What are some key traits?
Obviously, coachability. I think a lot of agents who come into the business or people who come into the business, I've noticed a lot of them have this air to them, like they already know what's up. They don't have much to learn. It's almost like they're stepping into the industry and they feel like this sense of entitlement. A lot of people who are newer or younger even have we can say a misconception, I think, about the business, where they come in and they're so used to watching the TV shows, so they think it's going to be easy, right? Yeah. Instead of this nitty gritty, like old school work that really is going to have to be done, especially in the beginning, because you have to build up your momentum and start from zero. I don't care who you're under and what guidance you have, you still have to build your business literally from the ground up. So definitely coachability, finding people who have a solid attitude and who are willing to, roll their sleeves up and face challenges head on with a positive outlook is becoming increasingly difficult. I look for, personally, more in that than what somebody looks like on paper.
It's a good point to bring up that, this is a grind. It takes a lot to get there. Unless you're from a very rich family and your best friend's all of a sudden buying a $6 million property, this isn't gonna fall in your lap. And a lot of realtors think what's gonna happen, but they don't put it in context and send it to the client to update them on actually what's happening with their listings, what's happening with the market and stuff like that. And then when they get fired, they forget to be like, oh my God, well, we knew this was happening. And the client's like, well, I didn't know. You never reflected that directly back to me. What about how important it is for agents to be full-time? When you're shopping for people, do you guys have a lot of part-timers out there? We see a lot of people who are just kind of like doing this as like a second career.
I would say probably an overwhelming majority of the industry is part-time, because it's people either transitioning or people who maybe got slapped in the face with reality when they got into real estate, or they're scared to make that jump, because when you go from anything else to real estate, there's no guarantee. We only get paid when we close a property, right? So I think for a lot of people, they want to kind of dip their toes in the water instead of going full-time. How can you expect full-time results with part-time effort, right? It's just, there's no correlation there. So you definitely have to be full-time.
You're exactly correct in the fact that there's a lot of people who think this could be easy money, second career, kind of like we were talking about earlier. The business is going to fall into them. And in a fast-paced market where inventory is a big problem for most parts of the country right now, if you're not available for when that property comes to the market, somebody else is going to be. Real estate's a very cutthroat business. So I always tell people, if you're not there, I will be there. What about like social media? Like how important is it for people now to be more active on social media? Do you think any of this really matters to people's clients, and why should it matter for clients out there?
Absolutely. Like if you go out today, I don't care where you live, especially in the United States, go outside and you'll see everybody's attention and eyes are glued to their phone. Where like when I got into the business and I started creating content on social media, people kind of, made fun of me and said, what are you doing? Making videos is a waste of time. Only within a few years that shifted from, okay, it's a benefit if you do it, to where now I believe it's actually a requirement. And I think it's extremely important.
It's crazy to say, but I think it's almost as important as being on like a Zillow or something like that. If you're able to have a good following and have the right content out there, putting the properties out there, it gives you another chance to sell. And the more chances you have to sell, the better opportunity it's going to be able to move. Kind of switching gears. What about like, when you're starting a team, what's the first thing you think an agent should do when they're starting a team?
I think back to when I started a team, and as an agent, when you start a team and you want to bring on talent, whether that be an assistant, a buyer's agent, whatever, you need to have your organization organized and you need to be systemized. And I think that's where a lot of people run into issues, because when I bring somebody on, I have to effectively be able to say, hey, this is how we run things here, and they need to be able to duplicate that. So from an organizational standpoint, you need to have everything spelled out, right? If I bring an assistant on, this is their list of tasks and duties that they need to do and their expectations. If I bring on a buyer's agent, this is what they need to do. These are the expectations, the pay structure, and all that. All of that has to be very much so in order, and you need to be able to plug and play any talent that you bring on.
Too many people are trying to, now that teams are so popular, remember like 10, 15 years ago, people didn't have teams. Now people are trying to hire, and then everybody's like, well, what do I do? How do we do this? And if you have the right systems in place, you have a template saying like, here's how we're gonna do it. You have them shadow you, walk them through it and stuff like that. It's very organized. It's much easier, like you said, to kind of plug and play people in and out because you have the good systems in place. And when you're building a team, you gotta make sure that you start with the infrastructure first and build it out from there. What about like how your agents and team structure works with like assistants and stuff? Do you have full-time admin stuff do you believe in? Do you have buyers agents, sellers agents? Like what's the structure that you guys like to build your team like?
Well, what I did here locally was every agent that I brought on, I originally brought on my girlfriend as a buyer's agent, but very quickly I realized, hey, I can turn whatever kind of agent, whether they want to work with buyers or not, if I work with them for a couple of weeks, I can definitely make them a machine to get listings. Yeah. So virtually every agent that I bring in here, I have working both. So I don't really exclusively bring somebody in as a buyer's agent. I started with a part-time admin, then I graduated to a full-time because I needed it. So we have a full-time in-house administrative assistant. I also have a full-time TC that works with everybody on my team, and I got them through SkySlope. And that's pretty much the structure I have myself. We could say I'm the senior agent. And then I have, 4 junior agents under me right now.
Follow up on that. Are you and your girlfriend still together now after taking her on as a buyer's agent?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So, hey, 100%. Listen. Sometimes there's some little bit of friction there, and you haven't fired her yet, so that means you guys are off to a good start. Last kind of thing to talk about is what's the one biggest mistake that you would see a client make when choosing a realtor?
The top one I would say is focusing solely on the person who quotes you the lowest commission and the highest price. And I see that happen so much, but they're just asking you straight up, what's your commission? What can you get for the house? Assuming we follow that logic, they already are assuming every agent is the same, and they're just going to choose the cheapest one that quotes the highest price, which is incorrect as far as a way of thinking and a legitimate way of choosing a realtor. So I would say that's the number one way that they're making a mistake.
I think we knocked out a lot of stuff out there. We brought a lot of value for people out there looking to, what to look for in hiring, and for agents out there that are looking for like how they can improve. Where can people find you? What would you want to plug?
Google Bryan Casella. If you can't find me, then I'm doing something wrong.
Oh, I like that answer. So make sure to hit our bell, guys. Tune into all our episodes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.